Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the channel. It's your boy, World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about AEW Dynamite, October 2nd, 2024 review. Um, my thoughts on this show, plain and simple, was it's whatever, you know? It was there. They had some good wrestling going on. I like the AEW World Title match. That was good. I thought the match with Ricochet and Will Ospreay was a decent match, and it wasn't. It was used to continue their story and eventually have a legitimate title match. Um, Personally, the rest of the show I could have done without. Hangman Page won his match. Uh, so yeah, I mean, we got some good stuff here. Some majority of it was fluff, really. 5 years, sure, whatever. This was not really an anniversary I would be proud of in any way, shape, or form. Uh Honestly, I wasn't a big fan of the show. I barely paid attention to what was going on. I had my face in my phone mostly, and that's pretty much it. Can you guys notify me how I'm coming in? If the audio is good, I know the camera is lagging and so forth. My clock that shows how long I am live is not even moving or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, my thoughts. Again, dull, fluffed. Not all that entertaining, honestly. Thought it's wasn't all that great. Um So Brian Danielson retained his championship. We had Okada's Continental Championship on the line for only 20 minutes. If the match was going to go past 20 minutes, then his title would no longer be up for grabs and it would just be for the world title. Um Brian Danielson won by pinfall here. He did not win by submission, and he won by a roll up pinfall, by the way. So Okada lost, but not by a definitive victory by Brian Danielson here. He won by the skin of his teeth, basically. Um, Will Ospreay and Ricochet ended up being almost a draw. It was restarted immediately after it was restarted. It was a disqualification. Takeshita ends up going ahead, ending the match. Will Ospreay does win the match by disqualification, unfortunately, and doesn't really actually get a pinfall here. What else? So Takeshita looks like he's going to be the next in line for the international championship. And I would like that to happen. Get the focal point off of the Ricochet Will Ospreay match. I think this was a good move here because we can postpone this matchup. Yeah, we got a small taste of what these two are going to do in the ring in a major setup. So at the end of the day, Tony Khan kind of rectified this issue and turned it into a positive instead of a negative. Had this match gone all the way through to an end, I mean, Ricochet would have gone nowhere, and Will Ospreay would have been moving on to a new opponent like Takeshita. So Takeshita is the next in line. Ricochet will be next up later on down the line to challenge for the international championship. I would say this match should take place at World's End, um, or at Revolution if you want to go that route. If they can drag it out that long, maybe have Ricochet more focused on trying to win more matches, earn his right back into a title opportunity, and actually get legitimate wins here to actually be worthy enough to say, okay, he's got the right to challenge for the championship. So yeah, it's just my viewpoint on that. John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, Marina Shafir opened up the show. talking about Wheeler Yuta's indecision to side with them over Bryan Danielson. Mox focuses on Danielson himself, offering the champ an opportunity to fall on his shield when he defeats Bryan for the AEW World Championship at Wrestle Dream. So we're definitely getting a lot of things going on here. We're getting the Shield type feel that we're getting from Jon Moxley's little group. I honestly believe at Wrestle Dream we are going to see Shane McMahon show up finally. I really believe that. I think that Shane McMahon is going to surprise a lot of people, help Jon Moxley win the match, and become the new World Heavyweight Champion. That's what I think is going to happen at Wrestle Dream, personally, which will shock a lot of people. Maybe they won't. I'm not sure, but I have a gut feeling that Shane McMahon's appearing at Wrestle Dream. That's just my overall viewpoint on that. Would I put money on that if that was something to bet on betonline.ag? No, I would not, because I could be wrong, but I am taking a wild guess that that would be the case, and he could walk out and help Jon Moxley win the world championship from Bryan Danielson. Just my viewpoint. All right, so getting back to chronological order here. As I already mentioned, Will Ospreay wins and retains his title by disqualification. Backstage, we hear from Mercedes Moné, who sets up a video package highlighting her arrival in AEW and subsequently hot streak in the company. Mercedes hypes herself up some more before MVP arrives, offering the TBS champion his card to have a chat sometime. Now, later on in the show, we actually do get MVP introducing Shelton Benjamin. Believe it or not, Shelton Benjamin was introduced on AEW television with MVP. We are getting the fucking Hurt Business, people. We are getting the Hurt Business on AEW television. They're just going to, kind of modify the name so that they're not, causing any copyright infringement here. But we are getting the fucking Hurt Business. I am actually interested in seeing how this turns out. I honestly think that with Shane McMahon, the Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Pac all under one banner. I mean, they don't have to be a faction all in one, but they are all in cahoots with Shane McMahon since they are from the other promotion originally before they came to AEW. So that would be interesting. I would like that. I think that would be kind of cool. But Hurt Business just being back in an AEW promotion, I think is pretty fucking awesome. I'm looking forward on what Tony Khan does here. There was some good creativity by Tony Khan, I think, especially with the women's championship, or not the women's champ, the international championship. I think that was awesome. Matt 7 Eagle says we don't need Lashley. Put Hobbs with MVP. I actually agree with you on that, Matt. I think that would be kind of cool if we don't have Lashley in this group. That would be intriguing. They could have Lashley and Hobbs in there. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, granted, I don't know how that would work. I think, and you would probably say this, it probably would stunt Will Hobbs's run. I mean, shit, when's the last time we seen Will Hobbs anyway? I don't even know what he's doing. But yeah, Matt A7 Eagle, I'm sorry to tell you, Bobby Lashley is coming to AEW. It's already been confirmed with that. So When that takes place is whenever it's going to take place. But Will Hobbs being with MVP and Shelton Benjamin in this new Hurt Business on AEW television, I like it. I think that is a good move. Lashley, I don't know where they would put him. I like Lashley. I've always liked Lashley. I think he's a good fighter, a good wrestler. Some people don't like him. Some people think he's stale. I don't. I like his physique. He's a very strong dude. Apparently, he's not been using steroids. He's been like this his whole entire life, basically, except for when he was a kid. I mean, this guy has been fucking jacked from the moment we've seen him and hasn't changed even through these health policies where they get drug tested and everything else. So honestly, at the end of the day, Lashley has got to be doing this legitimately. Some people might disagree with me and say, "Oh, he's doing steroids." Well, if he's doing steroids, I don't know, man. I wish steroids did not. I wish steroids didn't hurt people, honestly, like health wise and mentally, but it can. And that is the reason why we've seen so many people die at such a young age. But man, I have to admit, we always are talking about we're looking for these larger than life characters and so forth. There's a reason why the wrestlers back in the day were larger than life characters, and that's because they were fucking huge as shit. They were strong motherfuckers, man. Strong, muscular dudes that could do some really powerful stuff. But problem with it wasn't healthy for these guys. A lot of them got sick. They got dead at a very young age before they were even 40. And it was a huge problem in the wrestling business. I watched a video of Marcus Bagwell, um, formerly known as Buff Bagwell, and he openly admits that he took steroids throughout his entire career. He did it in cycles and so forth, and he managed to do it correctly where it wasn't endangering his health or his well-being. So he claims that's the reason why he's still around to this day. But even if you have to take that in cycles to be very safe with your health and well-being, why bother doing it? It is such like a pain. And not to mention he had to take he mentioned a lot of different drugs to do this. I think he mentioned like three different types of drugs. The only thing that he mentioned that is probably the safest thing to take is HGH, testosterone. um so, I mean, that's one thing. And even that being used too much can hurt you in a very bad way health wise. It can cause you to have increased in cholesterol. So you could be at risk of giving yourself a heart attack on top of that. Um, Depending on how much you're taking, if you're abusing the crap out of it. Yeah. If you're using it like normal and it's not being used to like gain an outrageous amount of fucking muscle on your body, then I could imagine you probably are okay. Um, but I personally, I think steroids for the image was cool as shit, but it wasn't good for the wrestlers and the performers themselves. And I'm glad steroids is out of pro wrestling more than it used to be. I mean, pro wrestlers back in the day were taking it not like all of them were taking them. Now it's very minimal that will find a wrestler using steroids nowadays. But people will say, well, they're now small and thin and blah blah blah, and they just do flips and dives. Well, I guess if I gotta choose between flips and dives and thin, lean guys, like they look like UFC fighters, and then looking like fucking bodybuilders that came out of a fucking uh freaking power plant or something like that. I mean, I guess I would take the skinny, thin, lean guys that do flips and dives in that, because I don't want to see these people drop dead. I'm appreciate the work that they do. Why would I be so selfish to wanting to see big buffed up guys because they look fucking cool as shit? Um, but their health is going to hell and they're killing themselves slowly. I don't like that. I think that's a shitty way of treating performers and basically, encouraging them to endanger their well-being and health just for your own entertainment. That's just fucking sick. So next up, we go to the back, the Guns becoming AEW World Tag Team Champions before going backstage to hear from them ahead of Juice Robinson's match against Hangman Page. The Guns start to say the Juice is loose tonight, but are blindsided by Page with a steel chair. He lays them out and walks off. Absolutely fucking enjoy Hangman Page. Hangman Page is the freaking shiznay on this show. I think Hangman Page is very entertaining. I love what he offers here on the show on a week to week basis. He offers an adrenaline rush. I just wish he would start facing some notable names or something, but it is what it is, apparently. He beat Swerve Strickland. Now he's facing Jeff Jarrett and Juice Robinson. We had the return of Jay White, though, after this match was over, which was nice. So if we're getting Jay White versus Hangman Page in a match at Wrestle Dream, I'm all for that. I would be totally fine with that match, honestly. So back at ringside, it's time for TV time as Big Bill talks about Chris Jericho's moments in the 5-year history of Dynamite. This brings out Learning Tree himself, accompanied by Brian Keith as they enter the ring. Jericho says hello, hyping up 5 years of Dynamite and the news about the new media rights deal. He says they made a lot of experts look like idiots. Speaking of that, AEW's on Max now to be able to watch their live shows. So you'll be able to watch it on Max if you don't have regular cable television, but they'll still be on TBS and TNT on a week-to-week basis. But I honestly am not too intrigued because from what I found out is that the deal is that for the pay-per-views, you're not getting this for free. You have to pay for this still, even while you have a subscription to HBO Max or Max, whatever way you want to call it. And I don't even think they mention anything about wrestling content to go ahead and watch back in the history of AEW at this point. So I don't even think that is on the docket for AEW's programming on HBO Max. So the only thing we got is live streams and their pay-per-views, which we still have to pay for at a discounted price. And for all we know is we get it for free. And that's it. Like 1 month subscription free with HBO Max by paying it's like $49.99. You minus the $15.99, which is what we're paying now, and subtract that. You're looking at like $24.99 or some shit. I don't know. To me, it seems like garbage. I don't like the whole idea of this, and I'm not too keen on the idea that you have to pay like a $24.99, $29.99 type of shit. I honestly think that this is a complete and utter waste of our time. We're better off not having HBO Max just to not have, you don't even have to stream it. You watch it on TBS and TNT, and you could get the pay-per-views once in a blue moon on Thriller for $49.99 and just get the big four pay-per-views that they have on a year-to-year basis and miss out on the other ones, or figure out a way to watch it for free and do it that way, which, it is what it is. Yes, I'm aware, Matt 87 Eagle, that Max is currently $15.99. I'm very aware of that, Matt. So more than likely, if what you were saying is they take 15.99 minus off of 50, that would be like 24.99. You could just round it off to 24.99, which makes the pay-per-view like $25 instead of 50. So they cut it half the price, basically. Whoop de fuck you do. I don't know. I think it's garbage, honestly. I don't know. Not a fan of the whole situation, really. Really am not. And I'm not impressed with the whole fucking deal. I mean, if they were adding in, the old content that they've done previously in all their pay-per-views, I'd be like, okay, this is worth $15.99 to sit there, pay for the pay-per-view once a year at once a month at a discounted price and so forth. And I would say, yeah, okay, that seems like a reasonable thing because I can enjoy all the old school content that we had in the past and go back and watch that. Speaking of old school content, NXT's television episodes on Peacock have been removed. You can't watch them. I tried looking for them today while I was working on my computer. And I couldn't find any NXT television shows. So they are completely gone. The only thing you can pull up is NXT takeover shows, which I don't understand why, but they took it off. So, yeah, if you want to go back and watch Black and Gold again, you can't. Matt 7 Eagle says, no, wait, my bad. It's now 16. What? They raised that fucking bill $1 to 50 from $15.99 to $16.99. What the fuck's wrong with these people? All they keep doing is raising prices on everything while people get paid the same. This is fucking retarded. That's why I got rid of HBO Max. I wasn't using it. I don't need it for all these other television shows I can watch and stream on YouTube TV that I actually to I didn't really watch anything that was on there, and all the other television shows that are on that you can simply watch off of YouTube TV if you're recording them and all that shit. So I wouldn't even miss out on anything. Um, so in all honesty, yeah, I just was like, what's the fucking point? I'm not using HBO Max, so I got rid of it. Any of the movies that are on HBO Max, I could always purchase at some other point in time and own them individually. I don't have to pay a monthly subscription, so I can watch them on their website for that fucking price, which is ridiculous. Matt A7 Eagle says, World of Wrestling, way to truly kill Black and Gold. What do you mean I killed Black and Gold? I'm just stating a fact. You go on Peacock, look for NXT, you find nothing but their takeover shows and the special pay-per-view events that they have on there. That's it. They don't have nothing else on there. They don't have the NXT episodes at all. Not even the new ones. The new ones have been taken off. I thought maybe I could go on there and take a look at what happened last night. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant World of Wrestling. But yeah, they pretty much killed Black and Gold but you can't even watch the new episodes either. I was going to go ahead and see what happened from last night's NXT show to, get my own opinion, see how bad it was, because a lot of people that were reviewing it says it wasn't that great of a show. I mean, they said the wrestling was okay, but overall it wasn't that big of a deal of a premiere show. So I wanted to see for myself and develop my own opinion on it. So anyway, so he says they made a lot of experts look like idiots, having a laugh about that before insisting we wouldn't have AEW or Dynamite without Jericho. Keith insinuates that statement before Jericho talks about the anniversary of his pro wrestling career. He also gets the fans to chant, thank you, Chris Jericho. So there was a thank you, Chris, made by the fans. He gets the name of the city wrong before talking about his career, so he's called Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. What a fucking dumbass. But anyway, so he pretty much talks about his career. He's been in the wrestling business for about 34 years. He's looking to become the 9th time world champion, and he pinned Mark Briscoe in a tag team match, I believe last week. So he wants the Ring of Honor World title again for the second time in his career. And he challenged Mark Briscoe to the match at Wrestle Dream. Mark Briscoe accepted the challenge, and Jericho decided to insult his brother by saying, well, your deceased brother was more capable of having a chance at beating me than you. I was like, what? You really go that low? Like, come on. I know it's about trying to gain heel heat, but seriously, this man died like a year ago or 2 years ago from a fatal car accident. It wasn't on account of the fact that he had a heart attack. It wasn't on account of the fact that he had cancer. I mean, even if he had cancer, that would be terrible. But I mean, we're talking about a man taking his two girls back from dancing, dancing recitals and whatever, dance practice, and coming home to enjoy his time with his family, and some fucking retard drives on the wrong side of the road and kills him and injures his two daughters. I just find that absolutely disgusting. It's very distasteful. It's not even heel heat. It's just like, just shut the fuck up, Jericho, please. I don't find it classy. There's other ways of going ahead and taking shots at someone without bringing in someone's deceased family member. I think that was absolutely terrible and very distasteful, in my personal opinion. Do I understand the point? Yes, I do, but still, I mean, come on. The man's dead, and it was a very unfortunate thing. He shouldn't have had to die at all. It's just some fucking retard who drove on the wrong side of the road. But anyway, let me go ahead and read some of these comments by Matt 87 Eagle. Matt 87 Eagle says Hangman is great, but seriously, Double J, Juice Robinson was the best they had for him after the hellacious cage match. I totally agree with you, Matt. I don't understand what the fuck they had him face these two people. Double J, I guess you could say it made a little sense because there was some altercation between these two, but Juice Robinson, I don't understand it whatsoever. He goes on to say, well, it's great that Jay White is back. I absolutely agree with that. Matt 87 Eagle continues to say most people watched NXT for Punk and thought it was a waste of time. Yeah, I could imagine that's probably what the case was. And he says it's like if someone badmouth Owen in front of Brett, just poor taste. Yeah. Oh God, that's even worse. Really, that is even worse than Jay Briscoe. And the reason for that is because of the fact he died working in a pro wrestling segment. And he died of an unfortunate accident that occurred because of some poor fucking equipment that he was using that he had no idea was messed up or anything else. And he just ended up fucking dead on the freaking ring. which makes absolutely no sense to me. That was sickening. And if anyone was to ever do something like that, they deserve their fucking tooth knocked out or their heart ripped out of their chest because that's just fucking sick. I mean, that's like I said, it's going lower than mentioning Jay Briscoe, who's passed away from a car accident. But still, it's still very bad taste. I just did not like that at all. Anyway, so the match is on between Mark Briscoe and Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Title. I actually like this match. I know it's not an AEW World Title. It's a Ring of Honor World Championship, but the match itself is what's more important. The title don't mean shit. There could be no title on the line at all, and we see Mark Briscoe facing Chris Jericho. I'd be happy with it. So it's just an added on bonus to this whole situation. That's all this is. And I think Mark Briscoe is walking away with the W. He's going to retain the title. I don't think Chris Jericho is winning the Ring of Honor World Championship. And if he is, then this is a desperate ploy to get people interested in Ring of Honor, which probably nobody's going to give a flying fuck anyway. So it's not going to make a damn difference. But I think Mark Briscoe is walking away with retaining that title. This is to help Mark Briscoe out with his name recognition by beating a guy like Chris Jericho. That's what I think's going on here. We cut to a vignette with Darby Allin hanging out in the dark somewhere, talking about a rough ride on the Metro one time where he felt the urge to stand up to some hooligans who were spitting on his head. And he talks about how that reminds him of the situation with Mox. He was going to stand up to these guys, and they whipped out a knife and said, "Well, I'm going to stab you." And he said, "Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to die tonight." And some people broke up this altercation and cooled everything down, and they just separated, and that was it. And he was left alone. And he looks at Moxley, and what he was trying to do is the same situation. But unfortunately, he fell short. Now he's starting to have doubts about himself and what's going on with him as being a future world champion. So he's really pissed off about this. He starts smashing this rock on this vehicle that he was sitting on, and just showed a lot of frustration. He mentions that he will challenge anyone for an open challenge one-on-one at the Wrestle Dream. So he's got a match, but it's a meaningless match. Just something to throw him on there to give him something to do, I guess. Absolutely retarded, honestly. I don't particularly like it, but whatever. Anyway. Okay. So next up, we have Hangman Page, Juice Robinson. Hangman Page ends up winning this matchup. I mean, did you think it was going to be any other way? After the match, Page looks to get some revenge for earlier as he pulls off his belt to go after Robinson until Jay White's music hits. As the Switchblade rushes into the ring to go after Page, Hangman escapes the ring into the crowd, but Jay goes after him as they brawl until the table set up during the pre-match brawl is finally put to use when Jay spears Hangman through it. Officials tried to intervene as we cut away. I'm glad Jay White's back. I think this matchup for a Wrestle Dream one-on-one grudge match would be fine. I think this does not need to end in an actual official ending. I think this should end up being a no contest at the pay-per-view and continued at Full Gear in a some sort of stipulation match, personally. And this could lead to them, doing a number one contenders match for the world title and then moving forward from there. Uh, just my thoughts. I don't know. It depends on what happens with John Moxley and Bryan Danielson. I hope Bryan Danielson lasts until the end of the year. I'd hate to think that his reign as champion ends right here at Wrestle Dream. I think that's kind of fucking dumb. Uh, John Moxley's been champion more than enough times than anyone else on this fucking roster, honestly. Everyone's only got one run with this title. Moxley's gotten like 3 or 4 runs with this belt. It's freaking crazy how he's got the most reigns as champion in AEW, but whatever. We've cut to the parking lot where Renee talks to Jack Perry before Shibata appears, challenging him to a match for the TNT Championship. Perry says he'll think about it before walking off, only to blindside the wrestler before accepting. Well, good for him. Get another look back at the history of AEW Dynamite before cutting to a commercial break. Another look back at Dynamite's history before we cut to a vignette featuring Bryan Danielson, who addresses Mox before talking up the main event for tonight. Bryan says this is where the best wrestle, and that's why he challenged Okada to this match tonight. He talks about this match being for the Continental Championship for the first 20 minutes, but every second of this match will matter to him as both his world title and his career are on the line tonight, and he wouldn't have it any other way. Back at ringside, Britt Baker makes her way to the ring. We get a Britt Baker Serena Deeb match. Serena Deeb suffers an L by submission, and she ends up taking the loss by the lockjaw, and that's pretty much it. I mean, nothing really exciting happened here. I barely paid attention to it. We had Queen Amina appear out of nowhere, attacking Serena Deeb. This is fucking stupid. Deeb retreats up the ramp as we cut away to look at Samoa Joe versus Hook from earlier this year before going backstage to hear from the man who retired the FTW championship. He's actually angry about the news of his father being attacked earlier today and will look to get back at whoever did it. So they now have their version of Stone Cold Steve Austin being hit by a fucking limousine car and whatnot, trying to find out the mystery of who hurt who and who committed the crime, basically. That's what we're going to have here. I think this is kind of a smart move by Tony Khan. We're finally getting something a little bit different for Hook. He could spend his time backstage trying to look for people, trying to get information about what happened to his dad and why he is gone. This means that he needs to stay away for a full month. I think Taz needs to stay away for a full month to sell the situation. Maybe do an interview with Taz while he's in a hospital bed, kind of just asking him some questions of, do you know who attacked you? What have you? Whatever. And, pretty much say, hey, he's going to be off rehabilitating for whatever reason. They can make up an injury of some sort that might have happened, and he's going to be laid up for 4 weeks, and there you go. Boom. You got your time to keep him off the show where it makes sense, and yada, yada, yada. So there you go. And then we just get through Hook trying to find out who the attacker was. Who that was, I don't know. We hear from Christian Cage, who hypes himself about before going to a commercial break. Mariah May, who addresses Willow Nightingale getting involved last week after the match against Yuka. This brings out Willow, who lays into the champ before officials intervene. And we cut to ringside for Private Party, heading to the ring for the next match, which is against the Iron Savages. They win this match in very short fashion, very quick. Zay gets a mic after the match, addressing Private Party, trying to get back into the thick of things with the tag team division before calling back to their Dynamite history by challenging the Young Bucks for the tag team titles right now. This brings out the EVPs, who address the history and being here for an anniversary show before offering to do the title match, only to say they don't want to use up one of their limited dates on a crappy town like Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They retreat up the ramp as Jack Perry blindsides Private Party in the ring. The Bucks joining in, beat down until Shibata makes his way out to even things up. The Elite escape the ring as they stare down Shibata and Private Party. Christopher Daniels comes out to address things, offering something everyone might want as his set up a trios match for Rampage that sees Shibata and Private Party facing Perry and the Young Bucks. Okay, I guess that's all right. But still, like, I don't give a fuck to go watch Rampage on a Friday night when I could do other things, like go do things with my wife. Just saying. Anyway, we cut backstage to hear MVP about what happened last week before Prince Nana interrupts. He talks about how he used to be a wrestler, but MVP cuts him off and saying that's a complaint, introducing Nana to MVP's business partner and head of the complaint department, Shelton Benjamin. Fucking love it. I love naming him the head of complaint department. I think that's fucking awesome. Nana appears almost shocked as Shelton Benjamin compliments him on his coffee before the pair walk off. Fucking love it. I thought that was cool as shit. Now, where they go with this from there, who knows? But just to see Shelton Benjamin on television interacting and being called the head of complaint department, I think is amazing. So the last thing that was left was the AEW World Championship match, with the Continental Championship being on the line for only 20 minutes. Bryan Danielson wins the match. Wheeler Yuta comes out at the end to make the save on Bryan Danielson before he was going to be attacked. And he states that, you know what? Next week I'm facing Claudio Castagnoli and Pac. And Bryan Danielson says, yeah, and I'm joining you. We're having a tag team match. We're going to kick their ass. And that's pretty much what happened. That's it. Jon Moxley was ready to hit him, attack him. He pretty much makes the statement that this is not really about him becoming world champion. That's not the biggest concern at this point. It's about other things. And that's pretty much all. So there were some good things on the show. There was just things that were fluff filling shit. And that's pretty much it, man. I didn't find this super entertaining. I found some of it to be good, but overall it was like, who cares? And that's the way the cookie crumbles with AEW Dynamite for October 2nd, 2024. So at this time, guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great night, guys.